Most of us look at $1 million as a distant, impossible goal. But there is a strange financial truth. The first 100,000 is the hardest. It takes up to 1/3 of your entire journey in terms of time, even though it only represents 1/10 of the total value you are seeking. Why does this mathematical injustice exist? Why do those first steps feel like you are dragging a heavy weight across a long, endless desert of frustration? In the beginning, every cent comes from your sweat and labor. There is no momentum, no wind at your back, and the clock seems to stand still. For many, reaching that first 100,000 takes over a decade of disciplined saving. 12 long years of saying no to luxuries and yes to the future. But once you cross that threshold, something magical happens. The pace accelerates, the effort decreases, and the distance to the final million begins to shrink rapidly. The $1 million finish line is no longer a dream, it becomes an inevitability. But first, you must understand the hidden mathematics of patience and compound interest. Let's break down the numbers and see why that first 100,000 is the actual foundation of everything you will ever build in your financial life. Let's look at the hard data. If you invest $100 every week at an 8% return, it takes 12 years to hit 6 figures. To get the next 100,000, it doesn't take another 12 years, it only takes 6. The time required has been cut exactly in half instantly. By the time you move from 600,000 to 700,000, the gap narrows even more. Now it only takes a fraction of the time. In the early phase, you are the engine. You are providing 100% of the power. This is the stage of raw, unadulterated manual labor. Most people quit here because they don't see the engine starting. They feel the fatigue, but they don't see the capital working for them yet. But math is patient. While you are working, the interest is quietly compounding in the background, waiting for the moment it can take over the heavy lifting. At the start, an 8% return on a small savings account is barely enough to buy a nice dinner. It feels insignificant and almost pointless. However, 8% on $100,000 is $8,000 a year. That is almost $700 every single month without lifting a finger. This is the tipping point. This is when your money stops being a passive observer and starts becoming an active employee in your wealth-building company. The first phase is you working for money. The second phase is your money working for you. The transition happens at that critical $100,000 mark. Understanding this math is the key to staying motivated. You aren't just saving money, you are buying freedom, $1 of capital at a time. Think of wealth like a snowball at the top of a mountain. To get it started, you have to pack the snow tightly with your hands. It's cold, it's difficult, and the progress is tiny. You are putting in all the energy just to make a ball the size of a marble. You push it across the flat plateau of the summit. It barely grows. You wonder if the effort is worth the frozen fingers and tired muscles. This represents the capital seed phase. You are building the core. Without this solid core, the snowball will simply fall apart when it rolls. Suddenly, the ground begins to slope. Gravity begins to assist you. The snowball starts to roll an inch on its own, then a foot. When it hits the $100,000 size, it has enough surface area to catch more snow with every single rotation it makes down the hill. Now, the momentum of the ball is doing more work than your hands ever could. This is the power of compounding once it reaches critical mass. The ball doesn't just add snow, it compounds it. Each layer makes the next layer even larger. Growth becomes exponential rather than just being simple addition. By the time it is halfway down the mountain, it is a force of nature. It is growing faster than you can even keep up with. This is what $1 million feels like. It's an unstoppable force. But never forget that it started as that tiny frozen ball in your palms. The hardest part was the first few meters. Once you master the start, the mountain takes care of the rest of the journey for you. How do you actually start? It doesn't require a lottery win or a high-tech startup. It starts with simple, boring, and consistent daily financial choices. If you can find just $100 a week, you have the fuel. That is less than $15 a day to change your life. You don't need to chase the next big crypto coin or a risky stock tip. You just need the steady growth of the global economy. 8% is realistic. It's historical. It's sustainable. It's the boring path that leads to the most exciting results for anyone who stays consistent. Every dollar you save is a seed. Every debt you avoid is a shield. It's about building a fortress of habit that protects your future self. Consistency is the secret sauce. A small stream of water can carve a canyon through solid rock if it simply never stops flowing toward its destination. It means choosing the long-term satisfaction of security over the short-term dopamine hit of a new purchase that you will forget by next week. Automate your savings so you never have to make the decision twice. Let technology handle the discipline while you focus on living your meaningful life. As the jar fills, your anxiety levels drop. You aren't just building wealth, you are building a psychological safety net that gives you true peace. Do not look at the mountain peak every day, just look at the step in front of you. Check the box, save the money, repeat. The biggest secret to wealth is not being a genius. It is simply being the one person who refused to stop when things got boring. Building wealth is like planting a garden. In the beginning, you are working in the dirt, but you see absolutely nothing happening on the surface. Weeks pass, months pass, you water the soil, you pull the weeds, but the ground remains flat. This is the stage where most people give up. They think their efforts are being wasted. They think the soil is dead. They think the system doesn't work for people like them in this economy. But beneath the surface, a miracle is happening. The seed has cracked open. A root system is spreading, anchoring itself for the growth to come. The first $100,000 is that root system. It's not pretty, nobody can see it, but it is the most important part of the tree. Finally, the sprout breaks through. It's small and fragile, but it's real. You finally have visual proof that your patience is paying off at last. Because the roots are so deep and strong, the tree can now grow at a speed that seems impossible to those who didn't see the start. The tree begins to provide its own shade. It becomes a permanent part of the landscape. It no longer needs your constant attention to survive and grow. The leaves are the dividends, the interest, and the growth. They are the fruit of a labor that started years ago in the quiet dark. You aren't just wealthy, you are secure. You have built something that grows while you sleep, while you travel, and while you enjoy your life. Your financial garden is now an ecosystem. It is self-sustaining. And it all started with a single seed and a lot of invisible root work. As you stand at the summit, the journey looks different. The struggle of the first 12 years feels like a small price to pay for freedom. Look at the timeline again. 1/3 of your time was spent on just the first 1/10 of the money. It's a front-loaded sacrifice for rewards. This is your only mission. Reach that first 100,000. Don't worry about the million yet. Just get to the tipping point as fast as possible. Once you hit that mark, the beast of compound interest wakes up. It becomes your partner, your engine, and your wind, carrying you toward the finish. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Don't let another year slip by without planting your first seed. Be patient with the roots, and the branches will take care of themselves. Wealth is a game of endurance, not a game of speed or luck. You have the map. You have the math. Now all you need is the courage to take that first heavy step toward your own 100,000. Your future self is waiting for you at the $1 million mark. Don't keep them waiting. Start your journey toward financial freedom right now, today.